Have you ever felt like you don't want to do anything because there's nothing that feels like it's what you should be doing? Maybe you can relate to waking up in the morning, not really looking forward to anything your day has in store, but feeling a general sense of unease that there was something missing, some piece of information or idea that's just persistently out of reach. It might be because you are searching for a purpose in life. This video explores what purpose means and why it's useful, how to find it, using presence and emotional honesty to create fulfillment, and how to address these issues while enjoying each day. In her new book, Practical Optimism, Dr. Sue Varma defines purpose as something that makes you happy, brings value to others, cultivates your personal growth, and that the world needs more of right now, in your opinion. This set of criteria is perhaps a bit unique in that it sets the bar a bit lower than what we commonly think of when we hear about purpose as this kind of life's goal, world-changing pursuit. The common signs of not having found your purpose include you don't feel excited by what you're doing, you don't feel that you're growing or moving forward, persistent procrastination, dissatisfaction, or a general sense of stagnation or languishing, and practicing escapist behavior, which means abusing things that are fine in appropriate moderation but become problematic when they are overly persistent, such as drinking, drug use, staying in bed all day, or binging to avoid other activities. It could manifest as anxiety that you are falling behind in life, not accomplishing as much as your peers, or worrying that you will lie on your deathbed regretting all the time spent chasing meaningless pleasures that never led to any sense of accomplishment or fulfillment. Basically struggling to find the thing that makes you excited to get out of bed in the morning, or as I put it earlier, that feeling of, I don't want to do anything right now because there's nothing that feels like it's what I should be doing. Dr. Varma suggests that living with purpose can help you avoid all of these challenges and carries a myriad of additional health benefits as well. Now, if you didn't get lucky and stumble into a purpose that makes you feel fulfilled, the bad news is that it's unlikely something fulfilling will randomly fall into your lap and solve the problem for you. The good news is that there's some deliberate actions you can take to start making your way towards a solution, which I'll be covering throughout the rest of the video. The author suggests starting off with the following questions. What makes me happy? What am I most interested in? How can I bring value to others while also enjoying my time and investing in myself? What do I enjoy doing that the world needs more of right now? When you put it that way, this isn't necessarily that hard of a set of criteria to fill. You can check all these boxes just by growing plants and giving them away to friends and family who want them. If you make and maintain a random video game wiki or something, you can be fulfilling a purpose. It might sound stupid at face value, but in this context, it's true. It simply means doing something you enjoy that brings other people joy too, or fulfills some other useful function. You just need to find anything that hits all these boxes. It makes you happy, it helps you grow as a person, it benefits other people in some way. You look forward to doing it and feel accomplished and satisfied after you've made progress. That vague sense of undefinable unease you feel might be because you're searching for a way to check all of these boxes, or because you've found something that meets all these criteria but doesn't feel grand enough to you. Dr. Varma has something to say about that too. Your purpose can be world-changing, but it doesn't have to be. Enjoying yourself while making things better for just a few people checks all the boxes. You might have one purpose, or you might have many. It or they can change over time. You can find new ones and grow out of old ones. You can add new ones on top of your old ones if you start feeling like you need to do more. In fact, knowing when it's time to move on is important because relentlessly clinging to expired purposes can cause more harm than good. Often purpose is linked to your career, but it doesn't have to be. Doing work that gives you a sense of purpose can be an amazing experience, but it's also subject to all of the external risks of careers, like getting fired, hostile work environments, having your goals or targets set to something you hate, like sales, instead of what you actually enjoy, like product development, and so forth. Even the mere fact of having compensation tied to your purpose, or having it be the thing you have to do to get by financially, can diminish the psychological benefits it brings. Ultimately, you need to decide for yourself if you want your purpose to be your career or not. If only it were always that easy to find something that connects with us and makes us feel that way.
You explained your purpose. This is my purpose.
I love it.
This is my purpose, sharing the world of archery. So it's, this is everything to me.
2. Deliberate, active, structured problem solving. Finding something that speaks to you. This is where the practical side of practical optimism comes in. One of the themes this book really hits on over and over again is taking a structured approach to solving psychological and emotional challenges. If you can relate to waking up in the morning and not really looking forward to what your day has in store, there's a good chance you also know how it feels to spend hours at a time aimlessly searching for some missing piece of vital information, eating up your free time looking at news feeds, scrolling through YouTube and social media, checking your favorite websites for new content, looking for podcasts or videos about purpose and meaning, just hoping you will stumble into some source of inspiration. Practical optimism encourages you not to aimlessly drift around waiting for inspiration to fall into your lap, but rather to take ownership of this feeling and attack it in a deliberate, active, structured way with a real plan. Being deliberate means you have a singular goal, intention, or objective that you are working towards. Being active means you are focused on putting in effort to bring yourself closer to that objective, not just hoping something will fall into your life and solve your problems. Being structured means you are following a formulaic method or process that is designed to achieve the objective you are seeking. Now, these techniques are aimed at people who are ready to do some actual work and effort towards improving their lives and mindset, so if that isn't where you're at in your life right now, you may be better off spending your time elsewhere. There are a number of techniques suggested here, and while I can't explore all of them in depth, at a high level they largely boil down to the following. First, decide on some new activities to try, actively considering the costs and benefits of each. Trying something new or unfamiliar is recommended. Even try something you expect you won't like if you can't come up with anything that sounds fun to you. Second, actively document how doing these things made you feel. What did you like and dislike, and what do you want to explore in greater depth? Don't just think about it, write it down. Formulate a real argument using specific language. For example, I didn't like the cooking class because it felt like too much work for not enough payoff, and I didn't feel like it was a valuable use of my time. I don't feel like spending my money on less common ingredients and utensils that I probably won't get much use out of, and I actually don't mind just making simple meals out of basic ingredients. I really enjoyed the rock climbing because it forced me to push myself beyond what I thought were my limits, and was just enough of an adrenaline rush in a controlled setting where I didn't feel like I was at risk of getting seriously injured. I enjoyed having the opportunity to move around and do something active. Third, use the new information you generated to actively iterate on this process as you narrow down towards things that provide a sense of purpose, focusing on what works and eliminating what doesn't. Include what you liked, didn't like, and where you can go from there. You need to sit down and really work on this, not just kind of vaguely ponder it in the back of your mind while you're doing something else. Turn off all the distractions, give yourself time and space to think, and then put pencil to paper until you get it right. Give yourself a blank document with these questions and let your thoughts flow out. Some people call this journaling. Yes, it's going to feel like homework because it is. But if there's anything in your life that's worthy of your effort and attention, shouldn't your own fulfillment and happiness be at the very top of that list? If you don't sit down and actively work on these steps, then the process isn't going to work. Deliberate, active, structured problem solving. Using what you enjoy to improve the lives of others.
So when it comes to finding purpose, there's several ways of looking at it. Who do you want to be? Who do you believe yourself to be? And where does what you have to offer meet what the world needs? Because at this moment, the world needs a lot. It needs a lot of love. It needs a lot of service. It needs a lot of people to create cohesion, togetherness, and a different kind of purpose.
A key part of turning something you enjoy into a purpose involves using that thing to improve the lives of others. People looking for ways to make their community better often get advice like volunteer at a food bank or shelter, or clean up your local beach or park. These are important things, and if you like doing them, that's awesome. I think the reason they fail to resonate with a lot of people is that they're not that fun. Basically, anyone can do them, so you don't get the satisfaction of using your knowledge and skills in a way that's unique to you. They might make you feel good, but they probably don't contribute much towards the growth and development of your skill set. And in an almost literal sense, they can feel like giving a man a meal so he can eat for a day, while teaching a man to fish is how you cause meaningful change in the world. If you're looking for something that resonates more strongly with you, you can use the same active, deliberate techniques we identified earlier to turn what you enjoy into something that improves the lives of others. You will need to get creative in your thought process and find ways to connect your passions to something that provides a valuable service. Can you reinforce your engineering skills by maintaining trails or bridges on a local hiking trail? Can you develop your programming skills by teaching a basic class on programming once a year? Can you get more people interested in your love of board games by hosting a board game night once or twice a year for kids who don't usually have access to them? Can you develop your aspirations for writing or journalism by launching a local newsletter or video series spotlighting positive aspects of your community? Here are some basic ideas to get you started. Make videos. Start or contribute to a free information source like a website, wiki, discussion group, club, or newsletter. Auction off or donate a project or services to a charity group. Fill an unmet need in your specific hobby community. Work with the local youth club or school to set up free lessons for kids. You don't need to set the bar very high. If you do something like this just once or twice a year, you are making a real impact in the world without needing to break your back doing it. Not only that, but it will probably make you better at the thing you enjoy, make you a more interesting person, provide you with a unique and different experience, and it might help to get a new generation interested in the thing that you like doing too. Depending on who you are or what you like, you might even be building your resume at the same time too. As was the case earlier, the key is to start trying things out and gradually refine until you've found something that connects with you personally. Again, take time to actively document what you did or didn't like about each experience, then use that to iterate your way towards something that resonates with you. You're going to have to get creative and put in some deliberate effort to figure this out. The little thing you start doing might eventually evolve into something world-changing. Or you can keep doing nothing and keep feeling aimless. It is always your decision.
If there's anything I can give you that will transcend what I've gotten from skateboarding, the only things of meaning, I think, and of permanence, it's not fame, it's not popularity, it's all these things. It's what it is that there's an intrinsic value in creating something for the sake of creating it. And better than that, because, man, I'm 46-year-old, or I'll be 46, and how pathetic is that I'm still skateboarding. But there is this beauty in dropping it into a community of your own making and seeing it dispersed and seeing younger, more talented, just different talent. Take it to levels you can never imagine, because that lives on. So, thank you for your time.
3. Being confident. Underpinning all of these concepts is the idea of having confidence that if you use these methods and continue putting in effort, you will eventually make meaningful progress. This is where the optimism part comes into play. Practical optimists have expectations of positive outcomes due to their role as agents of change in their lives, and they believe they can deal with issues if not solve them outright. The author notes that research in this area shows that simply being confident in your ability to rise to the occasion when needed actually improves your odds of success, and most people find it easier to work longer, harder, and more creatively when they feel a solution is possible. Like many others, she recommends starting small and building. Pick something easy that you can do immediately to start making things just a little bit better. Limit yourself to something that will take you just 5 minutes if that helps. Building confidence out of little actions will help you work your way up to larger actions. This will serve as proof that you can make a difference and make progress.
Break your life into the major buckets that matter, and then just have one small daily discipline you do in each of those things, like just barely above the threshold of trivial. Not too hard, but like above the threshold. So not work out an hour, that's too hard, but also not like touch my nose, but something like I do 25 push-ups, every morning before I get ready. Do that in each of the areas of your life. The details don't matter. What matters is it changes the story you tell about yourself. And so you do that for a few months and you're like, you know what? I am able to do some things that are non-urgent or required, but because they connect to things I value. And I was able to actually stick with it and do it. And I mark it, and I have people actually mark it every day in their planner. Like I'm doing this every day. They have a symbol for each of them. And then you can raise the ante after a couple months. Well, let me add like one more serious thing into here, and you just build up.
Start with a draft of something that interests you. A lesson plan, a community event night, a video idea, or something like that. The idea here is to get excited over what you could be doing. The most important thing is to just start. Don't wait until circumstances are perfect. Get yourself in the habit of working proactively to make things better. Ask yourself, how much time would I need to put into this problem to guarantee that I would make meaningful progress? It's completely unrealistic to think that you could spend 10, 100, or 1,000 hours on something and not make any substantial progress. The author strongly cautions to avoid statements like, "I'll never be," or "no matter what I do, it won't matter." This kind of pessimistic black or white thinking is usually an emotional overreaction that doesn't accurately reflect reality and exists either as a maladaptive coping mechanism because you can't deal with reality, or flawed thinking because you can't recognize reality. Ultimately, you are trying to convince yourself that reality is somehow different than what it really is. A huge portion of this book is focused on the need to be honest with yourself. To put it bluntly, if you aren't being honest with yourself about your own emotions and what's bothering you in life, you aren't going to get anywhere. You literally cannot solve a problem if you are unwilling to admit that the problem exists in the first place. The need to be honest with yourself is something the author stresses throughout the text. There is a ton of general content about this issue, but in the context of purpose, this relates to taking ownership of your own happiness and being realistic about how to deal with the roadblocks that are in your way. While it can be easy and tempting to blame any number of external factors outside of your control for your own sense of stagnation and lack of fulfillment, you aren't going to be able to move forward until you take ownership of your own sense of well-being and admit that the power and the responsibility to make yourself happier lies with you and you alone. The key principle here is to avoid getting stuck in traditional, narrow-minded thinking that closes opportunities needlessly and prematurely. You don't want to think, I hate my job, but I have so much debt that switching careers is out of the question. You want to be racking your brain for other options. How can you actively switch careers while also managing your debt? Can you make lifestyle changes to aggressively pay off your debt much faster than anticipated and switch careers after that? Can you create enough of a savings buffer to manage your debt while you switch careers? Can you renegotiate your debt to something more manageable? Can you claim some sort of hardship deferral? What about filing for bankruptcy? What do people who switched careers despite high debt have to say about it? The author once again recommends an active, deliberate, process-based approach to solving these issues. There's a 25-item approach here. If you want to see the entire thing in depth, you can pause the video here, but I strongly recommend just buying the book. Rather than listing them all off, I will highlight and summarize at a high level. 1. Clearly define your goal. 2. Clearly define the problem and its importance. On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is this problem to you? How much is it impacting your life? 3. Brainstorm and research. Lay out as many possible paths to solving the problem as possible. Clearly define the barriers and obstacles to each path, as well as the trade-offs and benefits of each. Clearly define the best case, worst case, and most likely scenarios for each path. 4. Seek input. Who do you trust to provide valuable feedback on this issue, and what do they have to say about it? As with the other tools presented, this requires both deliberate effort and focused thought. You need to sit down and actually answer the questions using pen and paper, a computer, voice recordings, a typewriter, whatever your chosen method of capturing your thoughts is. If this issue is important to you, you're not allowed to take no for an answer here. If your life depended on finding a solution, what would you do? In a sense, it kind of does. So don't get discouraged and don't give up. If you think your only option is to be miserable for 10 years and there's nothing you can do about it, you're lying to yourself instead of facing the problem honestly. 4. Be present. Returning to the part about waking up in the morning, not really looking forward to anything your day has in store for you. When you do discover a purpose, you may not always jump out of bed eager to get to work, but some days you kind of will, which is a great experience. But the author also stresses the importance of cherishing and looking forward to the more mundane things in life. To summarize the author's stance, being present is all about making time to truly enjoy all of the things that remind you how pleasant life can be. Practical optimists make a habit of taking time to focus on enjoying the things that make life amazing, even if it's only for a few minutes each day. They don't let persistent thoughts of the past or anxiety about the future ruin their enjoyment of the present moment. The author opens this chapter by saying we spend way too much time on our phones, and it's negatively impacting our ability to enjoy the world around us and make deep connections with other people. Not only that, but our societal values are emphasizing achievement over connections more than ever before. We're spending more time consuming, less time collaborating, we get easily flustered when things aren't fixed right now, and empathy is at an all-time low. The author likens us to hedonistic pleasure monkeys seeking quick hits of superficial feel-good distractions while neglecting deeper pursuits and more meaningful experiences. Our brains evolved to highlight novelty. An unexpected rustling in the brush was a sign of potential danger that you absolutely needed to pay attention to. An unexpected new bad smell was something you could not afford to ignore. We evolved to pay much more attention to new things than to routine things because historically that has helped us survive. But now we are bombarded with novelty, and once again evolution is slow to catch up to technology. The data the author presents is so extreme that I have a hard time believing it's even real. We check social media 8 to 12 times each hour, send or receive 94 text messages a day, and spend as much as 9 hours a day using our phones. And as you may have guessed, this isn't very good for you. It's yet another case of technology hijacking the once useful neural circuitry of your brain for nefarious purposes. And the results are increased stress, anxiety, ruminating on the past, fixating on what other people are doing, and less overall happiness and contentedness with your situation in life. We wind up trapped in the past, anxious about the future, and obsessed with comparisons to the point that your experience of the present is diminished or ruined. The author suggests that this is a slippery slope into pessimistic thinking, as we are often drawn to asking and subsequently attempting to answer the questions of, why is everyone else's life so much more interesting than mine? Why is everyone else accomplishing so much more than me? What is wrong with me? The answers are most likely they really aren't, and nothing serious, but it's very hard to feel that way when you're mired in self-comparisons and FOMO. The author's solution to this is cultivating present moment awareness, or PMA. You may be more familiar with PMA as positive mental attitude, which is a fairly fitting coincidence, if not a deliberate choice by the author. PMA is a mindful practice that enables us to see and observe reality in the here and now. And it can be boiled down to deliberately choosing to devote all of your attention to enjoying the present moment as purely as possible. The author describes ruminating as excessively fixating on the negatives of the past, and PMA could be seen as its opposite. Focusing on the present allows you to focus on the positive, thereby taking your attention away from the negatives. In addition to yet another recommendation to start meditating, the author suggests savoring the details of your day. The smell of the breeze, the softness of your bed at night, slowly savoring a meal, take a walk or a hot shower, and focus on really enjoying the experience. This helps to combat the novelty-seeking, comparison-focused, pessimistic mindset we talked about earlier, but it also gives your brain a break to help you recover from the cognitive fatigue of our always-on culture. Other research shows that this can be a true drain to your mental energy.
So having no period in your day where you're free from stimuli created from other minds is solitude deprivation, and it's a real issue. And partially it's a real issue because when we're processing input from another human brain, it's all hands on deck, right? I mean, we're very social beings. A huge portion of our brain is dedicated to this, right? So it's a very cognitively expensive activity when I'm trying to understand another human's what they're saying. I'm simulating their mental state. I'm trying to understand, like, where do they fall in this sort of social hierarchy? And one of my arguments was when you spend your entire day in that state, it's exhausting and anxiety producing. But smartphones makes it possible that you can be in that mode all day long. And so, like, one of the things I hypothesize is some of the anxiety rises that goes with the age of smartphones is brain exhaustion.
As the author puts it, be kind to your monkey mind. Some of her suggestions include designate a quiet area in your home away from stimulation, have a wind down ritual at the end of your day, take some time to start your mornings more slowly, meditate, take 5 minutes to savor a non-stimulating experience like a cup of tea, a walk, or sunbathing. Experience the awe of nature without distraction. Make time each day for a flow state inducing experience. Write in a gratitude journal or use quiet time to contemplate everything you are grateful for. Time box your worrying. Set aside a portion of the day dedicated to experiencing your worries. Think about them, write them down, scan your to-do list, ponder your obligations and challenges, and when the time is up, move on and try not to dwell on them the rest of the day. Reiterating our common theme, you will need to actively make an effort to do these things, to make time for them in your life, and deliberately direct your attention to focus on appreciating them. There's an interesting synergy between purpose and presence. They actually support each other in a positive feedback cycle. Finding a purpose to work towards will actually free up a lot of time in your daily life to just enjoy life. That's partly because you won't feel the need to cram every ounce of free time with that aimlessly searching for inspiration process mentioned earlier, absent-mindedly hoping you will stumble into something inspirational. You will discover a newfound freedom to just relax and enjoy listening to music or a good story, or jump right into your daily work without procrastinating for hours first. to just enjoy the process, whatever it is you're doing. That nagging feeling in the back of your mind will dissipate because you will know that you are working towards something meaningful according to your own definition of meaningful. That pressure will release, and the fear of those deathbed regrets will maybe not be gone entirely, but will certainly be reduced. To recap, here are the key points to remember. A feeling of stagnation or general undefinable unease can come from not having a purpose, which is an activity you enjoy doing that also has a positive impact on the world. Purposes can change over time and don't need to change the planet. You can find a purpose using deliberate, active, structured problem solving. Emotional honesty and being present are critical components of happiness and fulfillment. These concepts all reinforce each other synergistically in a positive feedback loop. This book is incredibly info-dense, and I've only scratched the surface of what there is to talk about here. I'm planning a follow-up to cover more of the ideas the author presents. Please do look into the book itself if you found this content valuable, as there's a ton more good ideas and useful techniques. Thank you for watching.